There's been a lot of people recently wanting to get a look inside the bread truck. You want to come inside? Come on, let's go! You don't need a warrant or anything. Hi everybody, my name is Paul Barger and this is my Vanlife step van. It's a 1989 Utilimaster P30 with a Cummins 4-cylinder turbo diesel motor in it. It gets me 14 miles to the gallon. One of my favorite things about my truck is my fully functional kitchen. I have hot and cold running water, a sink, a spice rack up here. I have storage for pots and pans, food. There's more food up here, and drinking water inside this cabinet. It really gives you a really nice feeling of home and a nice full kitchen. This is probably the area I use the most as well. I love cooking for friends, and my truck can hold a lot of people, so it's great to have friends over and I can cook food and really like entertain. When I was looking for a vehicle to build into my step van rig, I wanted something that you could stand up in, and it turns out I found something that has a lot of room to stand up in. As you can see, I can jump up and down. I got plenty of room. I can almost fully extend my arms all the way to the ceiling, and being able to stand and cook is just such a nice feeling. It feels like a real home, you know? It's not like I'm in a van, it's like I'm in a small studio apartment. I have this nice little cutting board that gives me way more counter space, but you can lift it out. I have a very large sink. This is 17 inches by 17 inches wide. A nice little feature that I like is I built this backlit backsplash for the truck. It just kind of gives you a illusion that there's a window here. It also does a little neat display if I want some change of lights. Right above the backsplash, I had a little ledge here, and I built a nice spice rack, so all my spices are in there. I have, just everything right there at my fingertips. It's a great little storage space. And just a little decorative touch. This is a very cheap magnet that was purchased at Harbor Freight, but I found it to be very useful. All of my stuff is stored up there. Everything I need to eat with is right at my fingertips. Surprisingly, this is actually strong enough to hold everything, and those pieces don't even fall off when I drive. It's really worked out good. I'm gonna get another one and put it somewhere else in the van. This is just a copper cup that I drink out of all the time. I really like that. Although I do have hot and cold running water, I don't drink out of that tank, so this is how we dispense water for drinking. I store my water container up there, holds about 2.5 gallons. So up here is the little breakfast nook. All the breakfast foods are up here. Makes it easy to kind of compartmentalize your food for cooking different meals. And then over in this cabinet is where I have all the other food for all the other times of the day. This is something that everybody's just loved when they see it in my truck, and it's so simple. When I'm traveling, these doors would just sling right open. So I made this little block of wood. All it does is drop in there, and you can't open the cabinet. When I'm in travel mode, these little blocks of wood is what holds my cabinets closed. I'm a big believer in repurposing, recycling materials, and all of the stuff that you see here, except for the sink and plumbing things, was pulled out of the trash. I got this out of the trash. These came out of dumpsters. It's all dumpster dive material and, repurposed wood in my truck. What I use for cooking is a very basic Coleman 2-burner stove. I have plenty of counter space up here to put my stove and cook from up here, but that takes up a lot of counter space. So what I did was I built a side table here that flips out, and I can set my stove up right over here. And this is great. I love a 2-burner stove because you can cook for a lot of people with 2 burners. One burner is a little bit limited. And this doesn't use very much propane at all. The reason I use propane is I have 3 different devices in the truck that run on propane. My on-demand water heater, my buddy heater, and my 2-burner stove. Down here below the counter, I built a little shelf, and there is a Yeti cooler. We don't keep all that much refrigerated things on board because it's high maintenance, keeping ice and things like that for the Yeti cooler. But this does a great job, like a good 3 days solid of storage in this with refrigerated goods. This is one thing that I do want to upgrade in the truck, is to get like a Dometic fridge or a 12-volt fridge that fits in this spot, and that'll be a little upgrade coming soon. Behind the cooler here is the water pump for the plumbing, and under here is just a little bit of open space. There's a bin for storage. My Mr. Buddy heater lives underneath there. This area right here is the wheel well. It's kind of a tricky space to use because it's raised about 12 inches off the floor. I always envisioned having a little sitting area here, so that's why I built this. What I did was I raised it up a little bit higher than where the wheel well is so that I could utilize the space for a shoebox. So all my shoes go in there, keeps it nice and neat, and when I'm dirty or something like that, I can come right in my back door, put the shoes away, and get out whatever shoes are appropriate for the day. Above my shoebox, I have an electrical panel. This goes over to my solar system with a 2,000 watt power inverter. It runs a lot of things. A 2,000 watt is very powerful. I can run my air conditioner when it's in full sun. I can run mixers, all sorts of kitchen appliances. I've even run a hot wax, like waxing hair removal machine off of it one time. That's a story for another time though. I got another cabinet up here for some small condiments. I have like oils, things like that, vinegar, bigger bottles. This is a very handy little rack that we put in that, you know, these are daily items that we use all the time, like essential oils in here, vinegar solution for cleaning, Burt's Bees exfoliating wipes, suntan lotion, beard oil, all that kind of stuff. Beard oil from Winter Sun, it's awesome. This wall I really love. This is the first like reclaimed wall that I built in the truck, and I think it has just a really cool look to it. I used all sorts of stuff. I helped a friend take down a fence in Oregon and put up a new one. So this is a mixture of a few new panels, but mostly the old panels from the fence. I just think it looks really cool. Behind the door here, I have even drawer fronts. I like different textures. I didn't really care what kind of things I put up, but I think they all look really great together. I met one of my subscribers, and he gave me my first ever in-person 420 super chat, so I had to put it up on my wall. I thought it was a really thoughtful gift for my friend to give me. But yeah, super chat. This is the back wall of my truck. This is where my living space ends. I always envisioned having just a regular residential door back here. It opens inward, and there's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of people have criticized me for putting it to open inward, but I think there's huge advantages of it. The reasons that I made it open inward is that I had so much living space that I really could afford to lose the swing of the door, and when I'm not traveling I can still stack things here. Another thing is when I'm parked and I'm hanging out, I didn't want a big door hanging out the back of my truck. You know, that's a huge thing. It's not in the way when you're parked and hanging out behind the truck. Another reason that I have it open inward is that if I'm ever backed up close against something, I wouldn't be able to open my door. Sometimes I'm in tight parking lots, I back up against a fence or something like that. I can still open my door, get some air, and if you had to open out, you'd be so much more limited, because I do park right up against stuff quite a bit. The door is constructed out of fiberglass. It's a fiberglass residential exterior door with a PVC frame, so it will never rot, and it's been really good. It doesn't leak. Unless it's a really, really crazy downpour, I might get just a little bit of water just at the bottom, but I have very little water intrusion into my truck. Deadbolt and regular door handle on the back. One thing I do quite often is when I park in a beautiful place like this, I'll arrange it so that my door faces out to this beautiful bay right here. We're on the Puget Sound right now, and as you can see, it's a breathtaking view. It is really great to be laying in bed and to have a view like that and the fresh air and breeze blowing through the truck. So I have a nice blow through, you know, I have a nice airflow of wind that comes through the truck when I have the front and the rear open. I did a lot of van life recently down in Orlando, Florida, which is where I'm from. Most of my traveling has been away from Florida, but it is extremely hot there, so I added in a portable air conditioner. This requires a duct to go to the outside, so I cut a hole through the wall and put the duct going out, but this is hooked up so that the water condensation from the unit drains out to the floor. I can run this off my generator, and I can even run it off my solar system if I have full sun in the middle of the day. It will run on my solar system. I just need a bigger battery bank. This is a Jackery power unit. It's called the Jackery Explorer 240. This is a great little unit. I have a solar system, but I have a very minimum battery bank. So if I ever need a little bit of supplemental power, I can turn off my system in the truck, switch over to the Jackery, and edit for 2 more hours on my computer with this very easily. Or whatever, charge batteries and all sorts of things. It's actually a very powerful little thing. This is my YouTube command center. Most of the work I've done on my channel was done right here at my desk. This is one of the first things I built in the truck. I wanted a workspace that could be really productive, and this is dedicated to work. I have a full-size desktop computer. It has an 8-inch subwoofer that's 2.1 THX stereo, a 23-inch computer monitor, and internet capability and everything. I'm really looking to upgrade this to a MacBook Pro. That's definitely something that will up my game on YouTube, so that will be coming soon. This right here is a piece of firewood that Ellie gave me. I thought it was so cool. It's been eaten by bugs, yeah, little beetles. So I thought it just had a really cool look, so I just bolted it into my truck. That's one thing that's fun about this truck. You could do anything you want. I have this 2,000 watt Predator generator here. This is for backup. If I need to run the air conditioner, it'll run off of that generator. It's very efficient, and if I'm really struggling on my battery bank and my power system, I can shut it all down, just run off of this, and not damage my batteries. Sometimes I'm up late editing video, things like that, and I gotta get it done, so that is my like emergency power pack. This area right here is my closet. Right now I just have a simple burlap sack hanging to cover so it's not as busy, but what I usually do is I just roll it up, stick it out of the way, and I have tons of room here for hanging clothes. All of my clothes for the most part are hanging, and I have some fabric boxes here that I just pull out, and smaller things that are in there like socks and things like that. Plenty of storage for clothes. I mean, I have everything I need in here. I even have a wetsuit. This mirror here is something that I absolutely love. It's a cheap little IKEA mirror. It's $10, but it's great in the van. You can cut your hair, you can do whatever you need to do and swing it out depending on what light you need. So it actually is really great. Cheap little IKEA thing. The reason that I chose this space for my closet is, again, there's a wheel well on this side, so it's kind of useless space. This is the width of the entire wheel well, and my entire solar system is contained within here. This cabinet was built out of a dresser. That's how I also built my office. It's a dresser that I pulled out of a dumpster, and I just thought it was really neat looking wood, so this is what I used. This flips out right here and makes a table. I have a little leg that comes down, so I have some extra space here for playing cards, games, eating, whatever. Underneath, when you open this up, that reveals my solar system. I have 4 AGM batteries with 380 amp hours of power. There is my 2,000 watt Ames power inverter. I have a Midnight Classic SL150 solar controller, and then I also have a smaller 300 watt pure sine wave inverter up there. Honestly, I use the 300 watt more than the 2000, but this is great for big power stuff. This is at the head of my bed, and on top of the solar system, it's a little power center right here. I have 2 USB ports and also a cigarette adapter. This is a great little meter that I have here. You can see where the battery bank is at a glance. The only problem is it's a little bit bright and it shines into my bed, so I usually stuff a pillow over it every night. But this is great because when I go to bed, I can plug all my phones, cameras, drones, everything in right there and have another access to power. Above my headboard little power system, I have 3 shelves just for some extra blankets, towels, hats, gloves, things like that. Also something very important, I have a CO2 and carbon monoxide detector. I highly recommend it for everybody that's using a van for van life. Also here I have room to hang things. This is a toiletries bag. These are nice. They're a couple little USB rechargeable fans, so if it's warm we can place these around the van and cool off a little bit. This is another favorite feature of my van. This is my lighting system. It's just a simple remote. This controls the color, the brightness, and it's really great. It was cheap. The whole system cost me about $65, and it's been one of my favorite things in my van. I think you might have been in that shot a little. Whoops. Now we're moving over to the bedroom area, and I have a little shelf, a little knick-knack shelf. This is my Volkswagen bus little birdhouse that I customized paint and screwed into the shelf. I also like having a little tiny house inside of my tiny house, and a little mirror ball just for party nights. I wanted to tell you guys about my bed. It is a small single, it's a cot size. When it's folded up, it can be used as a couch during the day, but these underneath are really just a box within a box. It's a large box on top of a smaller box. I slide this out. I'll give you a little preview about how it works. I'm not going to slide it all out, but this folds all the way out into a queen size bed, and you know, very simple. I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do with my bed, so I did know I wanted a queen. This is a temporary solution though. This whole thing is completely removable. I can take all these boxes out within 5 minutes really, and this whole space is open with flooring all the way to the wall. It's a really huge space here. So I have the option of putting in a Murphy bed or some sort of other solution, but this was just a very easy way to get a queen size bed that is convertible. One thing I really wanted was 2 air vents in my van because of airflow. I got 2 Max Air fans. They're 14-inch standard camping size fans, but they have a shroud on the outside where they can be open and left open in the rain. That's come in handy many times when it's a little bit warm in here, but I still want airflow. I can open these up, turn this big fan, and get some air flowing. The nice thing about having 2 is that I could make one blow out, one bring air in, and you get this great revolution of air coming through the truck. As you can see, I still have not permanently wired them, but I'm getting there. It's on the list of things to do. A lot of people don't even notice this about my truck, but there's a bathroom in this area right here. That's the edge of my kitchen, and then this is the front of my truck where I drive. The way I designed it so that this door would be a dual purpose door. It closes off the bathroom, but also closes off the front section. I just have a little bungee there to hold it tight, but as you can see, I can just close the door off and it can go either way. Sometimes at night we sleep with this door open, sometimes it's closed. It just depends on where we're at, what kind of level of stealth we need, and what kind of airflow is needed. There's a couple different configurations that it works in. When the door is closed, it's a pretty high level of privacy and stealth. Very little light is able to be seen from the front, and it really makes it much quieter inside the truck. This is my bathroom. I really wanted some old rusty tin in here, so I found some corrugated steel and put that on the wall. I also constructed the toilet box out of corrugated steel in the front, and I really wanted a galvanized tub for my shower, so I drilled a hole in it. I just drilled a hole for drainage, and up here you can see that I actually have a shower with hot and cold running water. It's a nice shower head. This can come off, and I can use it for other things like filling water containers, washing my feet, and washing dirty items as well in the tub. It works really good. Here you can see my plumbing. It's a little bit exposed, but that's okay. This is how you turn my shower on and off. Top is cold, bottom is hot. Simple, simple. This is a vanity that I found at a thrift store for $5. I really think it looks cool. It has a mirror in it. It's pretty great. I have all my bathroom type stuff in here for the most part. Toothbrushes, toilet paper, Q-tips, all those kind of things. This is my toilet box. It is really just a fancy bucket with a box around it. But I have a bucket inside that has a screw-on lid, totally sealable. On this side I have a little hinged compartment. This opens up like this. I have sawdust in there for the composting toilet. This is my flooring. It is vinyl flooring, and at this point it does need to be redone. It's not something that I am really happy with. I'd like to get hardwood floor for the truck eventually. A lot of people are curious about insulation. I got really lucky on this truck. It came as an insulated truck already. The ceiling has an inch and a half of insulation, and the walls have 1-inch foam board insulation. I also built that front wall with 2-inch foam board insulation. It has a very high R value. It stays very warm in here in cold climate, and it stays pretty cool in here in direct sunlight. This is my captain's chair. This is where I drive this beast. It's a 4-speed manual, so I do a lot of shifting. This chair is out of a Subaru Forester. It's a little bit more comfortable than what came in the thing originally. It does recline, and it has a headrest. The old one didn't move at all, so that's great. Under the seat there's a lot of space, so I have storage room. I could put a bin underneath, or camping chairs, things of that nature. You do usually go down there. Up here I have GoPro mounts. I have 2 cameras on my windshield usually at all times, and these come in really handy. This is another feature of the truck that I absolutely love. My friends in Montana, Barn Sharks, made this for me. It is a steel knuckle shifter. It actually says around the outside of it, made in North Dakota with love, but it's actually kind of comfortable, and I like driving with that shifter. It's really really cool. I installed this myself after my first year out on the road. When I first left, I had no power capability whatsoever up here, so I needed charging ports. This here, that's my horn. I have a cigarette adapter 12 volt here that runs off the truck battery, separate from my solar system, and I have 2 of them. What I did was, this one is on the switch that goes to the key, so I can leave something plugged in here at all times and it cannot drain the battery because the key will be off. And then these other 2 are full-time. If I have things plugged into these will be draining my battery, but I also wanted something that will be on all the time if I want access to it. This one is nice. It has a little digital readout. You can see my battery for the truck is at 12.6 right now. It also has a little USB charger, so that's great for my phone or batteries that I need to charge when I'm on the road. This is the dashboard of my truck. I wanted it to stay as clean and neat as possible, so it didn't look like people are living in it. I do have a couple things that might give me away, such as my little succulent plant that is on the dash in the night crawlers box there. Another thing I used here is a level so that when I'm parking, I can see how level the truck is at a glance from the driver's seat. And of course you gotta have a little hula girl. I wanted to show you guys the passenger seat. This is the jump seat. It is not very comfortable. It was added later, and you know, it's so that you can still use the step and come in. Folds up out of the way. It's very uncomfortable to ride in. The back is kind of straight up, so I'm looking for another solution where I could still use the step and have a folding seat, something to make maybe like a minivan seat. But yeah, that's that. This is my hot water system. It's a on-demand propane water heater. It's very efficient, uses very little propane, and it doesn't have to worry about heating a tank all the time. It's just on demand, and when it senses it needs pressure in the system, it will fire up and heat the water, you know, as it goes. I got a little bit of exposed plumbing here, but I think it looks kind of cool. It's nice and clean. This is a Camp Lux brand on-demand water heater. What I find too is it doesn't give off very much heat and or flame. You don't ever see any of that. This is the reason it's called a step van. This is my only entrance in the front. I don't have a driver's side door, but I use the step to come in and out, and a lot of times I drive with the door open because it's, you know, kind of warm. And It's much nicer breeze inside with the door open. The area is nice in this truck because it's lower than all the other floor. It is nice. You can come in here with muddy shoes or whatever, kick them off right here and go onto a clean surface, and then use just water and hose it all out. It's all made out of aluminum and it won't rot or rust. So this is a very useful little area. The water just drains right out, no big deal. What I love about step vans is that they have sliding doors. It doesn't have a door that opens into another car, so I can park in a tight spot and just slide the door open and closed, and I don't need much clearance on the sides. Believe it or not, as big as this truck is, it fits in a regular car parking spot. It may overhang just a little bit, but for the most part, it does fit. If I can find a good place to park where I can back into it or something like that, I can usually get in most parking lots. The primary reason I bought this truck is because of the Cummins 4-cylinder turbo diesel. It's a 4BT, a legendary motor. They go for 1,000,000 miles. The best thing about it is that I get 14 miles to the gallon in this diesel truck. A lot of people don't believe me. I've kept very meticulous record of all of the gas, or all of the diesel I've put into it over the entire life of the truck. So I have a 14 mile per gallon average. It's just a beast. It goes up mountains. I do have to slow down on high climbs and stuff like that, very steep inclines. It just keeps chugging away, and it gets up mountains no problem. It's got plenty of power for this 10,000 pound truck. I know it sounds kind of strange, but I've always had a thing for bread trucks. How utilitarian they are, how basic and boxy and square they are. But take a look at that front end. I don't know, it has a certain personality to it. A lot of times I look at it and I'm like, oh, cute little bread truck. This has only 16-inch wheels, so I'm riding on regular heavy passenger truck tires. I believe it improved the ride a lot from the old commercial tires that were on it. I painted the wheels back to red, just like it was when it was a bread truck, and it has a dually rear end, so it's capable of carrying a lot of weight. Mounted behind this panel, there's a 46-gallon freshwater tank. You can see it here. It sticks out just a little bit below the body. Got a little body damage there, don't worry about that. But I plan to add more tanks, and but 46 gallons is a really good start. I do have another 46 gallon in front of that, but that one's not hooked up just yet. It's just mounted. And then the big old red bread truck wheels, I think it definitely, someone had painted them black, I turned them back to red. I think it definitely makes it look more like a bread truck again. That's what they were originally. It has these big meaty bumpers on it. They gotta be like 1/4-inch steel all the way around. I really hate them. I'm gonna get them replaced, but that's what I got for right now, and they definitely are strong. This is the back of my truck. What I used to build this wall is 4-inch refrigeration paneling. It's very similar to what they use in a walk-in cooler. It is really great for insulation. Here's the backup camera right here, and the infamous marker lights that everybody knows about now. Steel front bumper. This is just how it came from the, it's like a C-beam, like a half of an I-beam. It's massive. The way I mounted my solar panels is very simple. I use a cheap Amazon cargo van ladder rack, and I got some angle iron or angle aluminum and just put it together. I have 700 watts of power on the roof there. I plan on a very big expansion of this roof deck. You can see how little roof space that actually takes up. I have room for several more panels. I can definitely foresee this van having a giant roof deck and a roof hatch that I can climb out of from the inside. The entire body is all aluminum. The only thing that's steel on this is the frame and suspension. All these body panels is all aluminum. The roof, the walls, everything. Makes it very light, very strong, and won't corrode. This truck body is made by Utilimaster with a GMC P30 frame, and the overall length bumper to bumper is just over 21 feet. The height of the truck to the top of the body itself is 9 foot 4 inches. With the ladder rack, it's just over 10 feet, about 10 foot 2 inches. The color that the truck is right now, with the red wheels, the tan color, is the color that it was when it was in service with the bread company. The best thing, in my opinion, about a step van is the stealth. This thing is a city camping machine. You can get into a lot of locations that really doesn't allow overnight camping because it looks like a bread delivery truck. So that's it, guys. That's the tour of my van. You saw it all, inside and out. And we're out of here. We got to get back on the road. We got things to do. We got places to go, people to see. If you made it to the end, you're a trooper. And thank you very much for watching. There's a very special treat for you coming up just a moment. So please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I hope you enjoyed my van tour. See you on the next video. Until then, safe travels and lots of love.